We're going to talk about autonomic nervous system. So first of all, under sorry, under nervous system, uh, there is central nervous system and other is peripheral nervous system. Then again under central nervous system there is encephalon and encephalon is brain. Then after other one is spinal cord. All right, and it covers two-third part of vertebral column. All right. Then after under peripheral nervous system, there is somatic nervous system and three, yes, autonomic nervous system. So somatic nervous system is also called cerebrospinal nervous system, and under this there is around 31 uh, nerve fiber. All right, and in autonomic nervous system there is sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system, and one more, that is enteric nervous system. So it do mainly supply our gut, and this is also known as our second brain. All right. So now let's start some basic thing which you need to know. So sorry, this is what vertebral column, and inside this there is this gray matter. All right. So this is gray matter. Outside of it is white matter. So in brain there is just opposite. In brain, outside matter is gray matter and inside matter is white matter. So just opposite in case of this. Then after, this part is known as lateral horn, this part is known as dorsal horn, and this part is known as ventral horn. And near ventral horn there is cleft. Alright. Then after, let's see what really happens. So this is our vertebral column, alright. And inside there is a hole, and in hole our spinal cord, sorry, main vein that the spinal cord passes. All right, now let's see something. So there is dorsal median sulcus and ventral medial sulcus. So ventral median sulcus is prominent, and this is central canal. Then after, you can appreciate different reason. So this blue one and red one is for motor, sorry, this is what dorsal part. All right, so dorsal is sensory part. All right, so this will be for sensory, and this blue portion will be for what, somatic sensory nuclei. All right, and this red portion is for visceral sensory nuclei. Then after, this green one is visceral motor nuclei, and this orange one is somatic motor nuclei. Then after, you can see here there is presence of ganglia on dorsal side to relay the information, and see, sensory cell bodies is found on dorsal ganglia, and that is also divided into somatic and visceral cell bodies. All right, so you need to know these things. These are very basic things. Then after, more in more prominent way, so you can see this is our vertebral columns, sorry, this is our spinal cord, and this is inside the vertebral columns hole. All right, so you need to know this is inside our inside vertebral column. This is inside the whole of the vertebral column. It comes out through the vertebral column, through the hole. All right. Then after, this is posterior column, this is anterior column, this is central canal, and this is gray matter. There is also presence of nucleus, and there is ventral horn. This is ventral horn, and this is lateral horn, and this is posterior column, and this is dorsal horn. So you need to know about the horn: ventral horn, dorsal horn, and lateral horn. So see, again same thing: central canal, lateral column, uh, This is white matter, posterior dorsal column. All right. So this is known as column. You need to note that also. Now let's go to next part. This is the uh, spinal cord's pathway taken through the some microscope, and this is the actual view which we get inside the microscope. All right. So then after spinal cord pathway, this is our spinal cord. All right, and it has sensory and motor function. All right. A part of that, it has different portion which allows passage of signals. So there is ascending pathway and descending pathway. All right. So it allows the signals to transmit from different part of the body. So this is inside white part. All right. And then after, yes, there is arterial supply as well to provide them nutrients. So there is posterior spinal artery. This is not as important for our ANS, but you can just know that there is supply of that. All right. Then after, okay. So descending tract, this is motor. All right. And ascending tract is sensory. Then after lateral sphincter, pain and pressure is transferred from this, and these are four different portions. So this is very basic. Sorry, this is very deep thing. If this is for just knowledge, you don't need this for learning autonomic nervous system. And now a simple thing. This is also important. So see, for example, someone prick on his skin. So you got a sensory on your dorsal surface, and there is spinal ganglia, and then our what spinal cord release it and provide efferent signal to the muscle to our sorry withdraw that and withdraw our leg. So this is efferent and this is efferent. All right, and this is spinal nerve. So if someone asks what type of nerve is spinal nerve, so it is mixed type because both sensory and motor nerve is found there. All right, and uh, motor nerve is ventral root. Then after there is interneuron. All right, so this is efferent, and in between there is interneuron. All right, and then after, yes, this is for sympathetic system. Sympathetic means this is what somatic system. All right, means there is nothing which relays the information. There is no in between the nerves. All right, so this is for somatic. All right, and now this is for sympathetic nervous system. So I've already told you there is different types in peripheral nervous system. Among them, somatic is one which doesn't have anything relay in between them. All right. Now we came into sympathetic nervous system. All right. So it starts in mid, which is lateral uh, horn root. Okay. So there is dorsal root horn, and there is preganglionic neuron. So what is preganglionic neuron? Means it is before of ganglia. And see, then after it there is postganglionic neuron. So one more thing, if there is efferent, it will pass through the white ramus. So this is white ramus, all right, because it passes the signal. And if it is going inside the organ, for example, there is the organ, so it will go through the gray ramus. So this is gray ramus, all right. So through white ramus, the sorry, the nerve will go inside the ganglia, and through the gray ramus, it will go inside the organ. So this is also a very important thing. Now, uh, now again something very important. So you are already understood that thing, no? That through white ramus it would come, and through gray ramus it will go for the organ. All right. So it might either go downward, it might go either upward, or it might go just at the same level. All right. So these are three cases which is very important in physiology. All right. So now let's see more clearly. So this is our spinal cord, and inside the spinal cord, this is what dorsal side. Dorsal side has this ganglia. All right, and this is our ventral root. And among them, they have white ramus. So this one is white ramus and this one is gray ramus. Through white ramus, the ventral root enters, and through gray ramus, it acts on the specific organ. All right. So this is the thing. Then after, yes, and it comes out through the. Let me show. Sorry. Oh, so this here, ventral root is for motor function, no? So it will come and go through white ramus, and then this is what, ganglia, and then after it will come and it will back to the organ. So that is gray ramus. So this is also very important question, that through white ramus pre-synaptic nerves come, and through gray ramus post-synaptic nerve goes. All right. And in sympathetic system, this ganglia is close to central nervous system, but in parasympathetic nervous system, ganglia is close to the uh, that cell or muscle where it need to act, sometime inside that muscle ganglia. All right. Then after, you can see this again, same thing, entry and exit. So it is actually on same level. Yes, can act. Now, how does it works? So it just transfers signal that will lead to the release of signal, and that signal will bind to the specific receptor, and action will be formed. Same way, autonomic efferent pathway here again, ventral root. Then after this is what, ganglia. Then after, supply to the target motor muscle. Okay, so in this difference between an autonomic efferent pathway and somatic nerve pathway is that in autonomic efferent pathway there is ganglia, but in somatic efferent pathway there is no ganglia. There is direct transfer of impulse from the ventral nerve cord to the specific muscle or target efferent skeletal muscle. All right, and it directly releases the neurotransmitter which binds to the receptor and perform the function. Then after, see, sympathetic nervous system has ganglia, but parasympathetic nervous system does not share ganglia. All right, so you can see here. All right, it starts from T1 and goes up to L2. All right, so this number is also important. Exam in exam it is asked. All right, so nerve comes and just goes inside ganglia. All right, and after going inside ganglia, it to uh, travel to the different organs, for example eyes, salivary gland, hearts, or different parts of our body. All right, so you need to know three different regions. First is cervical sympathetic ganglia. Its name is cervical sympathetic ganglia, but its origin is not in cervical. It's originated from lower level and goes up to there, and then passes to different organ. All right, then after, this is thoracic ganglia. All right, so T1 to T12, T1 to T12. All right, then after, there is, okay, cervical, thoracic, and there is sacral ganglia. So sacral ganglia is not properly shown in this. So this is sacral ganglia. All right. So then after sacral ganglia, there is greater splanchnic nerve, which is at T2, T3, T4, T5, T6. All right. So this passes to different organs. All right. Now let's go ahead. So there is again autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic division. All right. So it directly comes from the cervical and act on different parts of the body. So its origin in cervical and sacral region. All right. So it is cervicosacral region derived. Then after there is sympathetic division. Sympathetic is from thoraco lumbar region. All right. Then after difference between sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So parasympathetic work during rest. So what will it do? Constrict the people, stimulate the salivation. So both system there is written inhibit salivation, but both system actually make the salivation more. But in case of both, there in one case there is uh, what is that? More greasy type. All right. In one case, and another case there is more liquid type. So inhibit salivation is kind of, but you can in general we can say salivation is there, but it is more liquidified form. All right. So then after, and there is a famous question on it. So in which system, sorry, in which case is common in both cases? So there is stimulated salivation. All right, this is wrong in this photo, I think, and you may tell in some way. All right, then after it slows down heartbeat very normal way. It constricts airway, it relaxes airway. So on relaxing, it will get more space and it will have more oxygen. Then after it is stimulated, so in rest day, our digestion is good. During work, during emergency, it inhibit. So these are the things I wish you study. All right, and then after which sympathetic nerve supply only means the organ which gives only sympathetic nerve supply is, then it is kidneys, and this is very important MCQ. All right, so kidney is only to get sympathetic nerve supply. Now a generalized what image to show you sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So see, in sympathetic nervous system there is presence of ganglia, but in parasympathetic there is no ganglia, it directly acts. All right, in in parasympathetic there is cervical, sorry, cranial nerves involved, that is 3, 7, 9, and 10. Then after sacral nerves involved, S2, S3, and S4. All right, so only 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7. Seven nerves are involved. Seven compartments are involved, you can say, but in cranial there is no compartment. So sorry. So this is one is involved in this, and this sacral portion is involved in this. All right. So now, one famous question MCQ is that how many vertebral columns nerve is involved in parasympathetic? So answer is only three. That is S2, S3, and S4. All right. Now see, in parasympathetic nervous system, uh, the nerve first goes to ganglia, and after going inside ganglia, it forms network and then supplies to different organs. All right. So parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system works in just opposite manner. All right. And then after you can see here, ganglia is very close to central nervous system. This is ganglia. But in case of parasympathetic, ganglia is present very close to the organ. All right, and this you can see in all the parts. Then after something important, okay, so head and neck region, upper limb. Okay, 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 yes, this one is also important. So this portion supplies head parts of head and neck region, for example lacrimal gland, salivary gland, eyes. All right, and this portion provides to, it is C5, C6, C7, C8, T1, and T2 to upper limb portion. All right, then after body, body is being said by T1 to L3. All right, then after lower limb is said by L2 to S2, and then after pelvic floor is shared by S1 to S4. But in actual, the nerves are from this region only. So this is correspond to their level. Means level are only corresponding, but origination is only from this portion. So you need to know that origination is from this portion, but the level which it shares is this. All right. Then after something, okay, so I think you should learn about celiac ganglia. All right, which gives supply to adrenal medulla, and adrenal medulla is also important. So you should know about celiac ganglia. All right, and celiac ganglia supplies to various organ. It is very important ganglia. So at least for this time you should know at least about this celiac ganglia is there, which supplies to various organ, and it gives nerve supplies from T6, T7, uh, T6, T7, T8, T9, T10, T11, T12. All right. So T6 to T12. All right. So this is a approx number which you need to know. Then after it's also gets supply from L2 extra. So T6 to T12 and L2. All right. Then after this will be enough for now. Later on you need to learn more, but it will for other later portion. For now that is will be sufficient. All right, and these all things will help you through your entire nervous system. You know, a separate part of nervous system is being studied. BTC 4 volume 4 is for nervous system. So this is parasympathetic. The ganglia is close to a target organ. I have already told you. And in sympathetic, the ganglia is close to nervous system. I have already told you that. But see, sympathetic nervous system only work on acetylcholine. So preganglionic neuron also releases acetylcholine, and postganglionic neuron also releases acetylcholine. But in case of sympathetic nervous system, acetylcholine is released by preganglionic neuron, but postganglionic neuron might release norepinephrine. But in some cases, for example, in sweat gland, acetylcholine is released, and for adrenal medulla, epinephrine is released. And these both questions are very important for MCQ. So I think important for MCQ. All right. Then after, so now, yes, now there is two brains in one body. I hope you got the idea what I'm talking about. Enteric nervous system. So it is ENS. So there is brain and second brain. So EN enteric nervous system is known as second brain. How? There is glial cell support, and inside our stomach is gastrointestinal tract. There is also glial cell support. 85 billion neurons are there in brain. 500 million neurons are in stomach. So generally, all of the things are more in brain, except dopamine, which is released equally in both. So if you take care about the food, you will be happy. And this statement can be proved through this produces 50% of dopamine and produces 95% of all the serotonin. So these two things are very important. All right. And then after we'll talk blood for the brain. All right. So there is blood brain barrier and close to second brain. There are some barrier which restrict blood to the second brain. All right. So vagus nerve supply our stomach, and there is very saying that vagus nerve is the nerve which supplies most many of the organ among cranial nerves. So this is also among MCQ, which could be asked. All right. So it got supply from thoracic region and pelvic nerve. Then after the enteric nervous system comprises a network of neurons spread throughout the two layers of the gut, the submucosal plexus and myenteric plexus. So the submucosal plexus and myenteric plexus are shown in Other pages of this same tract, I'm going to tell you about this submucosal plexus and myenteric plexus later in this same video, but these both are very important. All right, now central nervous system, neural immune endocrine pathways. So this is something which is not as much required, but for knowledge I have kept it. You can read it. I'll provide this PDF to you if you required. All right. Then after, enteric nervous system. So types of enteric nerve neurons are sensory, motor, interneuron nerve. So see, yes, sensory, motor, and interneuron. Okay, so you should study. This is for basic idea. All right. Then after, main important thing, arrangement of enteric neuron. There are myenteric and submucosal. Myenteric neurons is also known as Orenbach's plexus. All right, and submucosal is also known as Meissner plexus. What is plexus? Plexus is network of nerves. All right. So I think you know about this term. If you don't know, might be not knowing. Plexus means network of neurons. All right. Then after, so again, where do are they? So nervous system, central nervous system, peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system divided into motor, sensitive. So in motor part there is autonomic nervous system, sympathetic, enteric, parasympathetic. Okay, so you could study that. So you also know that peripheral nervous system is only motor. Now, vagus nerve supply to this part. So you need to know this thing as well. Then after, thoracic regions nerve supplies this portion, and this is what, celiac plexus. I have already told you. Then after, from sacral region there is also supply. So it has supplies from cranial, thoracic, sacral, and pelvic region. All right. Now this is our stomach, and this will help you to learn about submucosal plexus and what is there. There is circular order. Where is that here? Mesentery. Okay, so this is myenteric plexus. Let me highlight it. All right. So there is myenteric plexus, and myenteric plexus is between circular muscle, circular muscle and longitudinal muscle. All right. So you need to know myenteric muscle is between circular muscle and longitudinal muscle, but submucosal muscle is deep inside in submucosal layer. All right. Okay, so this much is enough for today, and this will be enough for you for learning autonomic nervous system anatomy part. All right. Now we will go in physiology and give you more textual content than this visual content, so that you could write easily in your exam. And this note will be provided to you within few days. Means it might be when you, today is 23rd March, so you will get it by 30th March.